straight new wave. Name straight new wave.
It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off, it's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Peyton. It's just gonna solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
SKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Laura, is he gonna be able to find these shots true?
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Annabelle immediately comes back, like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
CGL's 17th season continues to roar onwards as we bring you an NA Open match here in week number 4. Hello everybody, I am Gedster, and joining me is the wonderful Shadowfang. How you doing, my man?
Oh, you know, I'm doing great. Just enjoying my Sunday night, trying to get some Overwatch gameplay in, you know. Seeing one team that's really in the upper tier here, and Vicious Unforgiven trying to crack into that upper tier of this division. I would say should be a fun game here tonight between these two teams.
Yeah, very exciting stuff for sure. I myself, I won't lie to you. I'm a little bit tired. I just drove back from Seattle today. It may shock you to know, considering the decor of my room, I'm not actually from Seattle. But I went on a road trip with my brother this weekend, and I got back like literally 2 hours ago. So we're back in the thick of it. I am here. I'm ready to go. This is going to be a banger of a matchup. Like you said, Primordius Rising and Vicious Unforgiven throwing down here right before this is their last match before the mid-season tournament happens for CGL Season 17. So hoping to gain a little bit of ground in terms of seeding for that tournament are both of these teams.
Yeah, Primordius Rising currently sitting at 3-0 with that 9-0 map differential. There are, I believe, 2 other teams in this tier that have already finished 12-0. So I'm sure there would be some sort of tiebreaker thing going on if Primordius Rising were to sweep tonight. Vicious Unforgiven, though, they need to lose this series in 5 games or win it. That's the only 2 ways that they can make this, because they're right there on the precipice. So they either need to lose in 5, win the series, or they will not make the mid-season. Mid-season is top 8 for this tier, by the way, just for anybody that was wondering.
So a lot on the line for Vicious tonight, and I mean, they're gonna have to drag it all the way to the distance against a team that has not dropped the map. Like Shadowfang was saying, this is going to be a ridiculous undertaking for the side of Vicious Unforgiven. But I mean, this is a very capable team. They've got 2 wins already, 1 loss under their belt, unfortunately. But I mean, if there's ever a time to wake up and show that you do belong with the big dogs, it's now. Because if you can't do it, then you're not going to get any games in until the midseason tournament's done.
Yeah, you basically get a long break in a sense. But you know, our first map tonight, you can see it right behind us there in the background. It's a pre-selected as per usual. It's going to be Ilios. And then from there, it's going to just be loser picks, map type, and map mode. But Ilios, a very, I would say it's a diverse map as well.
Indeed.
And we're going right into the bans here. Got Primordius Rising getting this first ban. I always say the first ban is kind of a feeler ban where you just kind of get rid of something you're not interested in seeing. With Primordius having a primarily Wrecking Ball type player, I wouldn't be shocked to see them get rid of something like not even necessarily like an important tank, just getting rid of something so that you don't have to lose your Wrecking Ball on map 1.
Yeah, not an uncommon pattern to see a team ban out something like a Roadhog or a Mercy, because I mean, they're not characters you're going to see anyway, but you want to protect something while making sure that you keep the more important bans for later in a series. Remains to be seen exactly what they go for here for sure, though, but I mean, we could potentially be seeing a ban onto one of the newer characters. Not this time around, though. Primordius Rising, they will be getting rid of the Kiriko, and I mean, that opens up a lot of possibilities across the entire roster.
Yeah, it really does. Kiriko ban, they usually save that for map 3, I feel like, but wait, we get it out early here today. Vicious Unforgiven, you got a few options here. You can get rid of a Tracer. We've seen Vendetta a lot. We don't see as much Tracer anymore, more Vendetta, so could potentially see like a Vendetta go out. There's the Tracer ban, so I should have stuck with the thing I said the first time. So the Tracer's another common one just because you're on like a dive heavy map, a map where Tracer can just take control of so many angles, so you may as well just get rid of her.
Yeah, definitely not a bad ban by any stretch of the imagination. So makes me a little sad to see as a Tracer player to not see her on this map here, but I'm sure we're probably going to be seeing her a little bit later down the line, particularly on maps where Vendetta is not going to be played. So it should be a banger. I'm very excited for this one.
Absolutely, and as you can see, we've got our rosters up there. Primordius Rising, you got Galaxy and Sorks on that DPS line with Cap and Crunch running that tank. Then you got Prosper and Spec on the support. And then down there for Vicious Unforgiven, we got Darkman, Sinister Squid running that DPS, Munchki on the tank, and then you got Giraffe Man and Soggy Moist on that support line. So again, Primordius Rising, they were a strong team last season, and they're looking to be a strong team once again this season.
Yeah, I mean, as you pointed out earlier, I don't love sounding like a broken record, but it bears repeating that this team is currently sitting at a 9-0 map count. That is absolutely absurd for the level of play that we have here in NA Open tier. So I think we're pretty close to being able to get into this one and getting Ilias started. So at some point in the near future.
It was honestly another reason that was a really good ban. Galaxy is like an insanely good Tracer player. I forgot Galaxy was on this team. So like Galaxy was absolutely killing it on Tracer in grand finals last season. It was just a crazy sight to witness. And it looks like both of these teams are going to be opting. No, actually, Primordius looking at the Hazard look right now.
Okay.
Lucio. This looks like a ball counter comp almost, in a sense. So I'm going to be curious to see how this plays out.
I really dig the Hazard pick. Definitely not a tank you see super often at most levels of play at this stage of the game. Typically, you're going to see something like the Wrecking Ball a little bit more often. Maybe a little bit of Domina here and there as of late with the new season launching. What you're not going to see is Sinister Squid's Reaper on the map for very long here. Spec with the early environmental kill. Very well done from her, and that should just give Primordius Rising an early capture onto the point. But with Galaxy going down, they lose a little bit of pressure, but I mean, more picks on the way out. Beautiful shots from Sorks on this Cassidy.
Yeah, I mean, you're just seeing the strength right there of Primordius Rising coming through. You do lose, like you said, one player in the midst of all that, but getting that boop kill so early onto Sinister Squid just pretty much denied any sort of fight that could have potentially happened right there.
Now with 20% in building, this Wrecking Ball looking to find enough damage to potentially take somebody out of the equation, but not quite. Prosper is there with the Immortality Field, but won't be there much longer after it vanishes. And with a little bit more back and forth here, it looks fine for Vicious Unforgiven right now, and it looks like eventually they will be able to retake this one, but they just got to clear off this Lucio. Eventually they do get around to it. And just like that, 40% is what Primordius is going to get on that first capture.
I mean, if you're Primordius, you're still pretty happy with that because that was like a lost fight 5 minutes ago almost, it felt like. and you still were just holding on to the point. So, you know, kudos Primordius for just not giving the point up for free. Got a lot of ultimates online here to start with. And Minefield is going to start us off.
Yeah, but, I mean, the manual hack onto the Wrecking Ball, a little bit too slow. It gets interrupted, not even by, like, gunfire, but just the ball was moving a little bit too quickly there. Oh, but all the mines, they aren't going to be able to get any connections. Meanwhile, Captain Crunch on this hazard. The downpour does find connections, several of them, as a matter of fact. And, I mean, players on both sides are falling like flies out of the air. And eventually, I mean, maybe this one flips, but it kind of seems like Vicious Unforgiven, they are going to be able to hold on to this one at the very least for a little bit longer. Especially with Sorks going down here. They managed to hold on to that despite such a great downpour.
Yeah, that was such a great play. The EMP comes out here too. Galaxy does get one Darkman immediately. Somehow doesn't die either. I'm not sure how Galaxy managed to live through that.
What is happening here? Players on the side of Vicious Unforgiven are falling out of seemingly nowhere, even with Soggy Moist using that orbital ray. It simply isn't enough to keep most of the team alive. Munchki probably not even making it out of this one either. Okay, the adaptive shield does keep the Wrecking Ball in the fray, but I mean, the reset has to come through. 79% though for Vicious Unforgiven. You will take that every day of the week.
Oh, just so you forgot, that's Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball doesn't die. Wrecking Ball simply waits until he can leave. That's how that works. Cool. So many ultimates online for both sides here. I mean, this is just going to be another crazy ult exchange of a fight incoming here. I'm looking at Sinister Squid's Death Blossom to potentially be big time.
Ooh. Giraffe Man gets caught up in that downpour, but it's not enough. Sinister Squid! 3 kills off the back of that Death Blossom, and that could just be the opening that they need to get back and retake this point. A whole lot of players have gone down for Primordius Rising, but they can't find any other picks until eventually Sorks falls. Galaxy escapes and has the EMP, so they have a way back into this fight. The initiation should be there. They have another recontest here, 90% in building. They do need to trigger overtime very quickly, though.
Yeah, this is looking good for Primordius Rising, though. You need to engage here quickly, but if you can manage to get 1 kill off this EMP, you're looking good.
Oh, and Galaxy very nearly dies before even being able to utilize that. The Deadeye goes out, lands on a Sinister Squid, but it's a couple of trades back and forth. Almost a 3 for 3 until eventually it absolutely is a 3 for 3. Just a couple players alive, a support and a tank for each team. Primordius Rising, they get the flip on the point, off the back of Galaxy and Sorks both finding great picks with the uses of their ultimate. Sorks going over to the Reaper just to get back to the point, maybe a little bit faster than the Cassidy, and now overtime is triggered, 99-99. Both teams on the point, just looking to find a little bit more value. Galaxy managing to escape with just a tiny amount of HP on that Sombra, but Sorks not so lucky. Prosper and Spec also going down means that Vicious Unforgiven have such a massive advantage in this fight, and with Cap and Crunch also falling, all 5 players are dead, and Vicious Unforgiven, they've come out of the gate swinging.
Oh, yes, they absolutely have. It took too many ultimates in that next to last fight, it took like one too many ultimates for Primordius to take it, and then just Darkman having that copy available. We saw the POV the whole time. Darkman copies Reaper and just walks through, gets 3 eliminations because Darkman knows I've got a whole second life that I can just play Reaper with right now. I don't have to really be concerned for my life. I can fly out as soon as I'm Echo again. You know what I mean? And I think the Death Blossom was so effective because you had a Bap Lucio comp, right? You didn't have anything that could really just deny that Reaper from walking forward. Now you're seeing Primordius adjusting. They've swapped now to a Brig Juno comp to try and just deny some of what Sinister Squid is doing.
And I do like that maneuver from the side of Primordius Rising, but I mean, you have to find value with this quickly here, because this Wrecking Ball will still ruin your day if given the opportunity here, and very nearly has his own day ruined. But first pick goes the way of Primordius Rising. No more Echo, at least for this first fight here. And a lot of pressure being put out onto this ball. Every time he pokes his head out, Primordius Rising getting a first capture on the point, and they're able to get Munchki on the way out.
A great wall there from Cap and Crunch as well to just really stop Munchki from getting out entirely. And just good job so far from Primordius Rising of just, as you said, laying in that poke damage as much as possible, not allowing Munchki to roll around and really get much value at all on that ball.
Definitely not. So much pressure on this Wrecking Ball, and I mean, that poor little hamster, he just doesn't have like the tools he needs at sometimes to really do anything about all of that poke damage. Though eventually you do have the rest of your team to work with here. 1-for-1 trade, Spec and Sinister Squid both going down here, but I mean, without that Reaper, Vicious Unforgiven, most of their damage is off the board, so they kind of just have to back out and maybe not hard commit to this fight. Oh, especially with that shot onto Soggy Moist there. That was beautiful.
Oh, man, I love that perk so much from Cass. As Darkman goes down, too, and look at this back line, just so exposed, just waiting for Captain Crunch to jump in. Good job forcing that Wraith out early, too, and down goes Munchki as well.
No way, not again, dude! They keep losing out on Munchki at such inopportune times here, and they know that they can just go aggressive off the back of this EMP. Galaxy finding 2 more picks onto the support line here. And that's just going to put Primordius Rising into one-fight territory, absolutely guaranteed. Vicious Unforgiven, they have not had a single ultimate charge, if I'm not mistaken, so far in this round.
No, I don't believe so. If Munchki just exists near somebody long enough, though, they'll be able to build up to that minefield. So expect this one to be very back and forth, because basically all the ultimates except for EMP are going to come online in this fight.
Yep. Oh no, losing out on the Echo immediately! Is Vicious Unforgiven, the minefield goes out and oh no, Wrecking Ball, Munchki, no! That's so sad. What beautiful shots though from Swords, my goodness. Taking that Reaper out of the equation so quickly, and despite a flip from Vicious Unforgiven, a very, very good usage of Primordius Rising's ultimates is going to turn the tide in their favor. And last time it was 100-99. How about 100-9 this time?
Great round there from Primordius Rising. Good adjustments, recognizing what the issue was and dealing with it, right? Cass, Brig. Cass Brig stops everything that they're trying to do. Just those 2 characters. You don't. Nothing else has to happen. Those 2 characters deny that entire composition that Vicious Unforgiven is trying to run right now, and you can just really see it, right? Because I've experienced this myself in comp. I've played a good bit of Cass, especially on these close range maps. It is insane the amount of damage you can output in such a quick period of time right now. Like, he's in a really good spot, and I'm happy to see it, because to me, he's the most satisfying hit scan to play.
I won't disagree with that. I think Ashe is also kind of up there. Hitting a really meaty dynamite is one of my absolute favorite things to do in this entire game, but I can't really argue with the classic, the gunslinger who's been in this game since day one. Vicious Unforgiven, though, they seem very confident in this strategy that they've already brought to the first 2 points regarding this Wrecking Ball. Like, that has this character as the linchpin. And so far, it seems to be working here on Lighthouse, as Sorks is the first to fall in this fight, and eventually it looks like the hazard will also go down. Okay, I was a little worried for a moment there, but Darkman does manage to escape with his life after taking Captain Crunch out of the equation. Galaxy looking like they're going to be able to get out in one piece, and indeed he is, but 17% in building now for Vicious Unforgiven.
And not really much to go on just yet in terms of ultimates. You're really looking for kind of just a mistake to be made by the side of Vicious Unforgiven. Otherwise, there's not really a good spot for you to open here other than just by trying to insta-kill Munchki.
Which they very nearly do, under 100 health for a solid minute there, but the first to fall in this fight ends up being Darkman instead. That Echo has been one of the other primary targets of this composition for Primordius Rising. And I mean, when you get that Echo out of the equation, I mean, it's very similar to the Reaper. That's a lot of your damage gone, and eventually you just can't do enough to keep the fight sustained. And it looks like Primordius Rising, they have done enough, and they probably are going to flip the point in a moment here. Indeed they will, at about 62%.
You do lose spec in the process, which is tough. Juno can get back pretty quickly, but you know, it's still kind of tough to just be down your support early into this fight. We are going to have the EMP and Deadeye online here. I don't imagine we'll end up using both of them. I just think the EMP engage is going to happen super early here. Maybe Munchki's able to respond with this minefield, or potentially this copy comes out from Darkman as well.
Yeah, it really is a question mark of just who engages here. I imagine it will be Galaxy. He's currently posturing for it, and in fact, it will be. Out goes the virus. Big damage onto Darkman. Soggy Moist and Draftman very shortly after will follow, and that is a very swift fight win just off of one EMP. No notes. Beautiful stuff from Galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, great. Perfectly timed right there. Everybody was just lined up right in a row, made it super easy for you to get all the kills as a team. And then Sorks getting the stagger kill onto Munchki, also incredibly valuable as well. And again, here, coming into this next fight, you've got a lot of ults online for both sides. I don't know, man. There's going to be a lot of things that happen here. I think the Death Blossom is the big one again, though, from Sinister Squid.
Oh, most certainly. But notice that, I mean, a lot of Primordius Rising this time around, not playing anywhere near the point. So many players on this high ground just looking to put damage pressure in onto the point, and the Deadeye is held for long enough that Soggy Moist, maybe not expecting the damage to still be a threat there, kind of just walks into it. But Vicious Unforgiven, somehow in the midst of that, they do get a flip, which could end up being crucial here. 70% in building here, keeping Primordius Rising just short of that 80 mark, but I mean, it's one fight territory now. Munchki is barely going to get away from that one, but I mean, there's one chance left for him.
I mean, once again, though, Darkman takes down Spec in the process, right? So you're down your Juno once again. This point is most likely going to flip. But wait, Galaxy doing things.
Galaxy finding 3 at the very end of that, out of seemingly nowhere, and there's no overtime touch. The ball was there too early, dies too early, and Primordius Rising quell the rebellion.
Yeah, that was a really quick turnaround, I'm not gonna lie to you. You saw Galaxy just improve as that map went on, figuring out exactly how to play that Sombra into the side of Vicious Unforgiven. You know, it went decently well on the first sub point we saw there, Ruins, but then as it went along, we just saw, it felt like the side of Primordius kind of understood how Vicious was going to play and didn't allow them to do what they were comfortable doing. They forced them into an uncomfortable spot over and over again after that first sub point.
Yeah, that first point, though, I mean, what a performance from Vicious Unforgiven. I think that map is sort of maybe a microcosm of what we're going to see throughout the series here, because that first point, very close. That second point, not at all. That third point, also pretty close, but it felt not as close as the first one, partially because overtime doesn't get triggered, partially because they don't make it to 99%, partially because somehow they flipped the point in the middle of all of that in what I think was kind of a losing fight anyway. But I mean, this very well could end up being just what we see from the entire series. where Primordius Rising has moments where they look mortal, they look beatable, but Vicious Unforgiven, either for whatever reason, they can't convert off of advantages that they had early in a map. They can't manage to look comfortable on a composition. I mean, we saw the Wrecking Ball get stuck to that entire map, even though on the second point it was frankly not getting really anything done. And I don't like phrasing it like that because it feels a little mean, but really, I mean, they were just all looking at the ball all the time.
Well, I mean, it's like I said previously, like there was a clear composition difference that was happening on map number 1, right? Primordius Rising was struggling to deal with what Vicious Unforgiven was doing, so they made some swaps. They swapped the backline from Bap Lucio over to Juno Brig, and they also swapped Sorks onto the Cass. I do not believe Sorks was playing Cass initially. I could be mistaken about that.
I'm pretty sure he was, but
okay. Then it was just the Juno Brig. You get the one Juno Brig swap, right? All of a sudden, you can't get that same level of value anymore, and there just wasn't a similar swap that came out from Vicious Unforgiven. They stayed on that exact same composition the entire time, and it really feels like to me that was the big difference, that we just had that backline swap. All of a sudden, that's the Brigitte difference, right? Just getting Brigitte back there, it's incredibly hard to deal with Brig once on a dive comp. So, yeah.
Yeah, as it turns out, Brig still very, very good at playing into opposing dive heroes, much like she was initially designed to do back when she first came out. Not nearly as oppressive now as she used to be, granted, but still very, very good character, and I am very curious. Oh, I have just been informed by our producer that we are in fact going to Shambhala Monastery for map number 2 here. Payload will be in the mountains of Nepal.
Very interesting decision, to say the least. I don't think I've seen this one come up yet when I've been casting so far. I think it's mostly been like Circuit Royale picks or Watchpoint Gibraltar. So going to a map like this, Shambhala, you can play most anything here, but it almost makes me feel like, I would say it makes me feel like they're trying to get rid of the ball compositions, but they're the ones that were playing the ball compositions.
Right.
So that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I'm trying to make some sense out of this, and I can't really figure out what the play is right here if you're Vicious Unforgiven. So I'm not too sure, honestly.
I've seen some ball get played here on occasion. It's definitely not as prevalent as some other tanks that you've seen here traditionally, but I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they roll out on it again. You see what I did there? I'm a genius. But it would. I am very interested to see, at very least, how Primordius Rising react to this. And the first ban is going to be coming from Vicious Unforgiven, so that should give us at least some indication of their thought process.
Well, this is going to turn into one of my ranked games because this first ban's probably going to be Sombra.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I don't know if you played ranked at all, but Sombra's banned basically like every game for some reason.
I'm aware.
It's like every single game.
The people just hate Sombra for no reason. She's not that bad, y'all. Like, I get she's kind of annoying, but she's not that bad. Ban Vendetta first. Like, that character's way more oppressive.
Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna predict the Sombra ban, but it could very easily be something else too. It could be Brig, you know. If Vicious Unforgiven is gonna continue to try and run that ball comp, Brig would probably be the smarter ban. But I'm gonna say Sombra. That's my final answer.
Okay. That's your final answer. The final guess. Ash!
That makes sense too, though. Sorks is a really strong hit scan player, so just get rid of the Ash.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think Ash is a character who finds her effective range is most particularly effective on maps like Shambhala, like Circuit Royale, you know, those longer sightline payload maps where Cassidy kind of struggles to do damage past his maximum fall-off range. So, not a huge surprise to see Ash come off the board here. This does open the door, though, for a map where both teams are likely to be running Sojourn, in my opinion. That pick would not shock me in the slightest.
No, not at all. And then for Primordius Rising's ban, Ramatra. I mean, it makes sense. You don't want to see Ramatra, so just get rid of it. Because I was gonna say, there's nothing that you wouldn't expect them to play the ball again. Is the thing. So it's like, okay, what do we get rid of? We both played Juno Briggs, so we don't really want to get rid of either one of those. So yeah, just get rid of a tank you're not interested in seeing. You don't want to see Ramatra, so yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of with that. We do have a substitution in, though. It looks like Vicious Unforgiven will be rocking with Lucas on the tank this time around. I think I get it here. As much as we did love to see the Wrecking Ball there, if Wrecking Ball is your most effective tank, most practiced tank, then maybe get subbed out for Shambali Monastery. Like I said, I've seen Ball work on Shambali before, but it's definitely not the easiest to work with, for sure. And I mean, if we're going just by the hero preview, what Lucas's favorite tank happens to be, Diva is a very strong character right now, so it simply would not shock me.
No, it wouldn't shock me at all either. Like I said, you can play pretty much any composition on this map. Like I think the thing I see most commonly is either like a Ram comp or like a Sigma, something of that sort. So I wouldn't be shocked to see like a heavy poke comp, but you could also play like a Diva, right? That's also an option here. And it looks like to start with, Primordius on that defense going to be going with the Domina style composition here. Going to be looking at some Domina, Kiriko, Wu Yang. Galaxy going to stick on that Sombra, and then you got Sorks running that Sojourn like you were talking about. Vicious Unforgiven, I don't believe anything until the doors actually open here in about 10 more seconds.
Yep. See, and this is exactly why, right? We see the Reinhardt, but surely he's standing in the spawn room so he can change to a different character. Zarya is what he's going to be walking out with, at least initially here. So Zarya double sniper for the side of Vicious Unforgiven. Never mind, Sinister Squid has gone over to the Reaper and Darkman has gone to the Tracer. I was so excited. I was so down for double sniper in 2026, but it is not meant to be this time around.
Yeah, the big thing here is you're going to have to speed past this Domina shield somehow. Otherwise, you're just going to get poked to death, and it is not going to be a fun experience for you.
Yeah, and that's why you bring along that Lucio, but I mean, thus far, it hasn't seemed all that necessary. You're just getting free cart distance because nobody's on the low ground contesting it at the moment. A lot of damage being poured into this tiny room, and Lucas nearly goes down here, but the bubbles on the Zarya are well placed. And they do push past that Domina shield, like you were saying. Sinister Squid, though, on this Reaper, falling very, very low. Down to 5 health at one point, and eventually it'll hit 0. Soggy Moist also falling in the midst of this. Lucas on the Zarya is so far away from the rest of this fight, though. And I mean, he's got the Lucio to work with, but surely they can't stay alive very long. They do get Prosper on the way out, but not a fight win.
No. Gonna have a little bit more cart push happening, though. Looks like Darkman on the cart with that Tracer. So getting a little bit of movement at the very least. Sinister Squid, though, definitely gonna die right here. Or maybe not. Maybe Vicious Unforgiven is just gonna...
They were goated for a moment there, but Captain Crunch with a very, very well-placed, I don't know the name of that ability yet. So, a couple more players are going to fall for the side of Vicious Unforgiven, and, I mean, they get meterage out of that. They're not torn up about it. There's 2 minutes left on the map, at very least at this point, and they've got 60 meters, and they've hunted down Galaxy. So, you're pretty okay with this, actually, if you're the side of Vicious Unforgiven. I mean, Primordius Rising, they're down a player who has their ultimate, so if there's ever a time to take a little bit of space, it's now.
Oh,
Squid.
that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Yeah, a lot of ultimates online, too.
What?
We got the EMP. The Kitsune Rush has been set off, though. Sorks has taken down Darkman, though, in the process. So, there goes Soggy Moist taking down Spec, and now if you're Vicious Unforgiven, you might have an opening here.
Ooh. I mean, you have a little bit of an opening, but I'm still not sure how I feel about the investment of the Kitsune Rush there from Soggy Moist. It seems a little bit, slightly ill-timed. We'll put it that way. Using it in that particular instance just means that you don't have a Reaper to take advantage of it, and I mean, the fight wasn't as definitive as it could have been. It kind of gets kited out, and eventually out goes another one of those ultimates, but a couple more will connect! Darkman and Lucas gonna be gathering together, I mean, combining their strengths, combining their ultimates to basically get a team wipe on the board, and Lucas, having done the job on Zarya, swaps over to the D.Va in, like, right at the beginning of second point.
I mean, great ult combo there. You mentioned it already, but as soon as that Suzu goes out, that's an immediate stick and a 3K coming through from Darkman. And you managed to save your Death Blossom, and you've got this sound barrier online too. You really just want to watch out for this Panopticon, though. If too many people get caught in this, it could be a problem and completely disrupt your fight. I've seen people just launch it at ulting Reapers to just stop their ult from getting much value. Could be pretty hilarious, honestly, if that happens. We'll have to see the way it goes, but Vicious Unforgiven still getting a reset in here.
Yeah, they'll have to in the midst of that. And forgive me, I did not notice until just now that Lucas has actually gone back to the Zarya here, maybe anticipating that he needed to go someone a little bit faster in order to get a recontest there, going over to the D.Va, but ends up going back to Zarya in the immediate aftermath, which I don't disagree with. Out goes the Panopticon you were just mentioning, and it is going to connect onto several players from the side of Vicious Unforgiven. So they are gone. They're gone. They're dead. Out of the picture entirely. And Lucas might not be long for this world either. Is eventually going to get surrounded and hunted down. Solid stagger onto that Zarya as well, but will respawn at the same time as the Tracer anyway.
Yeah, and that's the struggle of the Panopticon, because like Draftman can't pop sound barrier because, you know, shields. Like it just you just immediately deny that ult from getting any value. Sinister Squid popped Death Blossom at some point during that. I hope that it was with the Panopticon. I really hope that that's how that got used. That would be a hilarious use of that. I just totally made that up. But we're gonna have like a great engage here as Giraffe Man just gets an insta kill onto Spec.
Yeah, that's very nice. It is a really, really well placed fight there. A very aggressive sound barrier, a very aggressive usage of the speed. The problem is the fact that only now is the cart actually moving, and it hasn't even hit the point where it's actually gotten distance until right now. So it had gotten 20 meters forward past the point. It's only just now getting to 40, despite a very solid fight win. You're not even halfway through this point.
Yep.
And I mean, Primordius Rising, look at the tools they've got.
Oh, the EMP is the big one I'm concerned about here as it goes out right there.
Suzu, though. Okay, the Suzu saves Lucas, at least for the moment. Why are we grabbing? What? Okay, actually, though, why are we grabbing? Wait, why did it work?
Because we have Giraffe Man and you don't.
Okay.
Lucas is now back on the D.Va once again, so we'll see if it sticks this time. Sorks still has this this overclock, by the way. I feel like Sorks has had this overclock for like 4 or 5 fights now. It's been a while.
It has not been used quite yet. No, Lucas is here on the D.Va. Definitely able to more quickly recontest. There's no touch. There's no touch. All right, well, on to third point we go. Sorks pops that overclock and gets nothing with it because Darkman lands a pulse bomb. And the point is captured anyway, so there is just... It's... Alright, C9 City out here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an actual C9. Like, it's been a while since I've seen a real C9, not just one we say for ha-has. But that was like a real one that just happened. Panopticon and the Kitsune Rush going to be available on the side of Primordius. Sorks, though, instantly taking down Soggy Moist, so that's probably going to cause Vicious to just get a quick reset here.
Yeah, you just kind of got to back off of that one. Only having Lucio heals is not conducive to keeping your whole team alive in the face of a Sojourn. So, got to back off. But now that you've got Kiriko back in the fight, you are definitely confident enough that you can take a very aggressive fight here. Panopticon gets used, but only after the sound barrier goes out, so no immediate pick. In fact, Captain Crunch will be the first to fall in the fight. Losing out on that Domina is so bad if you're the side of Primordius Rising. But once again, we have a situation where the cart just wasn't moving. Nobody stayed back on it. And now, once again, sub 10 seconds left in the round, and they're not even halfway through the point.
Yeah, that is a tough spot to be stuck in, and you lose your suit and get hacked, so you can't even bomb when you lose the suit, and you immediately get shot by sword. Several things just happened in a row right there that were just unfortunate.
Some slight missteps from, I think, both teams in the latter half of that map, but I mean, at the end of the day, Vicious Unforgiven, you're happy with getting to the third point after how that second point was starting to look. And Primordius Rising, I mean, you're just happy you didn't get full capped. We'll put it that way, right? Like 56 meters on second point. You can absolutely push that. That is 100% doable. But we got to see it now.
I'm going to be curious to see what Primordius does for this attack, because as I feel the Domina can be very strong defensively, I feel like it's a little difficult to push offensively with her, right? Whereas you can kind of move around and whatnot. As Sigma, you're pretty much stagnant behind that shield when you set it as Domina. Like, that is where you are now. You go past that shield, you're probably dead. The Domina falls down very quickly if you're actually able to get on top of her at all. And, you know, we did see that a few times. It was taking, like, a very strong coordinated effort from Vicious Unforgiven to make it happen, but they did get 2 points here, as difficult as it was for them to do so. And, you know, we'll have to see how this defense works for Vicious Unforgiven. Running essentially the same composition again. Luca's probably going to swap to D.Va at some point during this, because it seems like we're just going D.Va Zarya back and forth depending on what ultimate we have online. So we'll see where it goes. Onron actually coming out from Galaxy.
Whoa.
First time for everything.
First time we've seen one of the 2 new DPS heroes in this game. Frankly, I'm a little surprised we haven't seen any jetpack cats so far. Was there like a hotfix nerf that happened while I was out of town, not paying attention? Oh my god, a lot of damage on the Darkman just then.
Yeah, that was really quick. I believe there was something with the cats. I just don't remember what it was.
Yeah, all good. But anyway, slice it. Darkman finding that first pick. Galaxy was on a little bit of an off angle there, we'll say, off in the distance, but Darkman able to take that 1v1 pretty reliably here, and Sorks also falling here to Lucas, maybe a slight overextension from the Sojourn. And now, I mean, you've just got to wait so long for your primary damage dealers to both be back in this fight. A minute already off the clock, and it's not looking incredible for either of these teams quite yet, but oh, what, I mean, that was excellent damage. Lucas fighting another one onto Galaxy, though. I mean, this Onron's struggling to stay alive for very long.
Yeah, that can be the difficulty with Onron. Great shield placement coming through, but Sinister Squid just doing a little too much damage for Cap'n Crunch to live through all that.
Yeah, very hard for anybody to live through that, especially the big hitboxes of the tanks in this game. So now down to around the 220 mark here. And I mean, I'm kind of curious. Okay, we do see one swap coming out from Sorks. We are looking at the Cassidy instead of the Sojourn. Not the swap I personally would have made off the bat here, but we'll see if Galaxy can get anything done on the Onron in the next couple of minutes here. Not that time. Sinister Squid with a whole lot of buckshot directly to the dome. And once again, Onron out of the equation, just making Primordius Rising have to wait for a little bit longer.
Just another reset for the side of Primordius. They are building up to basically all their ultimates except the Deadeye, and there comes the grab. Giraffe Man finishing them off with Lucas there. I mean, oh my goodness. Lucas getting traded out, though, could be big time.
I mean, that is potentially big, but, I mean, and Galaxy also finding a pick onto Soggy Moist there is, I think, indicative of a swap here. Yeah, Galaxy has gone over to the Tracer that you were mentioning earlier is potentially his best hero. So I am, for one, very excited to see this Galaxy Tracer that you've been talking about. But for two, very curious to see how this plays into the Curie, the Zarya. Some of these heroes are kind of hard to play Tracer into, especially in terms of finding and confirming pulse bomb kills.
Oh, it can certainly be difficult, but as you're seeing right here, this 1v1 definitely going the way. Oh my goodness, Sorks immediately gets the kill, and there goes the team wipe just like that.
And that's going to be the first point for Primordius Rising, already looking amazing. Like, in comparison to the on-round composition, this Tracer already looking great. And I mean, I don't want to talk down on Galaxy as a player, because already we're seeing improvements, but Onron, maybe this character needs buffs. But maybe Vicious Unforgiven needs to stay alive for a few seconds longer, because that is their almost entire team out of the equation very, very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. Galaxy already building up to that pulse bomb as well. Didn't take very long. I know Tracer has a quick ult charging, but that's still very quick. Vicious Unforgiven does have both of their support ultimates, though. They could go with this sound barrier engage potentially here early, but then Spec can have the response of that Tidal Blast as well. This could be a very interesting swap that happens here.
Out goes the Tidal Blast onto Captain Crunch here, but not immediately going to find much. 1-for-1 trade onto the DPS line. Sinister Squid managing to find 2 picks before getting taken out himself here. And now it's just a matter of, can Primordius Rising punch through this defense without their DPS ultimates in tow? Vicious Unforgiven, they're doing their best to hold on to this one, at least at this corner. And with 140 remaining in the time bank here, Primordius Rising need to get moving pretty quickly. They are coming up on a Panopticon. They have the 2 DPS ultimates that I just mentioned, but they have to play into a Sound Barrier, into a Grav, into a Pulse Bomb from Darkman. And there's that first one. The Sound Barrier comes out here, and eventually, yes, Sorks is going to be the first one to fall in the fight as Sinister Squid and Lucas just run him down. Excellent usage of a couple of ultimates there. And Galaxy and Sorks using theirs, but they just can't do anything to punch through that sound barrier.
Yeah, that was one of those moments where, especially there at the end with Galaxy's Pulse Bomb, just thinking, I can do this. I can 1v5. I can totally do this. We've all been there before. Anybody who plays Tracer a good bit, you're like, I can definitely do this right here. So no surprises there. Vicious Unforgiven going to have that Grav and Death Blossom combo that could be deadly, but the Panopticon available from Captain Crunch could also be helping denying that.
Lucas uses that Grav, but doesn't manage to stay alive for much longer after that. And the contest just won't be there for very long here. Soggy Moist, the last player standing over here, will get staggered for a very, very long time. And the Tracer of Darkman just not going to be enough to stop this cart from walking in. Wait a minute, though. Lucas is back on the recontest. 17 seconds remaining now, and a couple of ultimates for both sides. 10 seconds, and it's just a matter of getting onto this one. Prosper using that Kitsune Rush, potentially changing the entire course of this fight just by pressing one button here. Sinister Squid does in fact go down here. That Death Blossom no longer going to be a factor in this fight. And that could have been so huge for the side of Vicious Unforgiven, but the sound barrier could be what they need anyway. Soggy Moist and Lucas both managing to find picks here, and it's just Captain Crunch remaining on the point. They have done it. Vicious Unforgiven will hand Primordius Rising their first map loss of CGL Season 17.
And in what a nail-biting fashion as well. It was really feeling like for the last part of that game that Primordius Rising was going to be able to just cap that and move the point forward. But those back and forth trades eventually ended up going in the favor of Vicious Unforgiven. I think that Primordius got a little silly for too long on that on-round comp too. They could have used that extra time on point number 2 to really get a cap in, because I think if they had one more fight, they would have potentially won that next fight. It was just unfortunate, unlucky timing there for Primordius, but great job of Vicious Unforgiven of getting the card as far as they did, because those first 2 points, they had to go to overtime to even cap them.
Oh yeah. And with this, by the way, Vicious Unforgiven are 1 map win away from booking their ticket to the mid-season tournament, getting their top 8 seed here in Season 17. Can they do it? Can they do it? They're going to have to stick around until after the break to find out, so don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. We back, everybody. We're going to Runasapi next here in this series between Primordius Rising and Vicious Unforgiven, in a series that has already proven to be electric. The first map was very, very close. The second map, also very close, I would argue, but more importantly, Primordius Rising's first map loss of the entire season here in Season 17. Now we go into the third map, which potentially could book Vicious Unforgiven's spot in the mid-season tournament. Welcome back, everybody. Once again, I am Getster, and joining me is Shadowfang. What are your thoughts on this map pick here, Shadow?
You know, seeing this map pick, it leads me to believe that Primordius is going to go more for that dive style of composition, because we saw on map number 1, they played that Hazard comp, which Hazard's like a dive brawl almost. Like, Hazard's a weird combination hero in a sense. But then map 2, we saw them forced onto that poke composition, and they didn't look as comfortable on that as they did running their dive, where they could all just group up, get on one target together. Even towards the end of that map, Shambhala Monastery, they were really having that good success with Galaxy on that Tracer, still kind of playing that dive style, just like collapsing onto a target together. So I would predict here that Primordius is going to go for some sort of I don't know, like a Brigida ban, I think would be useful here. Maybe get rid of the Wrecking Ball, because you know the other side likes to play ball. You also like to play ball, though, with Cap and Crunch, so I don't know. It's a tough spot here. I'm gonna guess Brig, though. Brig's gonna be my final guess.
I won't lie to you. I already know what the bans are because I looked at the channel, and you are incorrect. It is going to be the Echo off the board right off the bat. My producer, Headrammer, has just accused me of being a cheater, and he's not wrong. He's not wrong. I was looking at the channel. I did click on the spoilers, so I am aware of what comes up next here. I will not spoil it for the viewers at home, because there's a handy little 42-second countdown here that anxiously has everybody at home waiting, and I wouldn't dare ruin the suspense.
Well, if you're Vicious Unforgiven in this circumstance, I would say you ban Hazard, because you saw the Hazard get played on map 1. There's another map where Hazard's very useful, and that would be my guess. Our producer knows good and well that I am good at guessing these things. I do not look at the spoilers.
Oh yeah. We got 2 cheaters in the voice call here, according to our producer. What a hysterical little scenario we have here. Echo and Hazard off the board for Runasapi. And I mean, these both make sense. It just kind of makes me curious at this point. What this just in? Both casters banned for cheating. My fault, gang. My fault. My team Zybras down in Diamond will now have to find a new flex DPS player. My apologies. What? That's a funny bit. Anyways.
Yeah.
Runasapi, no Echo, no Hazard. So, I mean, yeah, I think we could see ball, like you were pointing out earlier. I think the problem comes from the fact that characters like Brig are still on the board, characters like Cass are still on the board. I mean, Sojourn is definitely still a possibility here. Sojourn is typically what I would assume gets played on Runasapi in terms of the hit scan category, because I mean, her effective range significantly larger than Cassidy's, but I mean, if ball is in play, I imagine Cassidy could be too.
There is a distinct possibility of that. You could be seeing something else, like we could be seeing the Zarya Vendetta come back as well. I think the Vendetta nerf was somewhat significant, losing that 10 damage on that overhead swing, so maybe that's a reason that we haven't been seeing her as much recently, just not quite hitting those thresholds to get those to get that high damage that everybody, you know, was liking from that character. I was noticing it myself when I was playing Vendetta in ranked. It was significantly harder to get those final blows on characters before. I was just getting lit up and just blown up immediately. So maybe we don't see the Vendetta. Maybe we shift more back towards those Tracer 1v1s that we were starting to see towards the end of Shambali. You know, I would predict something like that.
I think that, as like an aside from the series at hand, I think that from like a game balance perspective, I think the problem with Vendetta is that she's a fully melee-based DPS character in a game where that's really, really hard to balance. I think that Vendetta's big issue is that she will always either be really good and played almost 100% of the time, or like almost never played. I think it's very difficult to find a happy medium for a character like that in a game like Overwatch. But I mean, as an aside, I think that it's still possible that we see her. Obviously, the Zarya is also still on the board, but and I mean, Zarya plus Vendetta, extremely potent combination. We've seen it ever since the character first came out here, but it looks like, at very least, to start this map, both teams are going to be running out on the Tracer. Sorks is going to be on that Sojourn. And I think that the crucial difference here is going to be the tank. You have Ramatra on the side of Primordius Rising, and you have Zarya on the side of Vicious Unforgiven. Not a huge surprise in my book, but I am very curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah, me too. I do like the Reaper pick here, but again, it's all going to hinge on getting Sorks out of the way early. If you get Sorks out of the way early, your composition starts to look a lot better, but it's just dealing with that Sojourn, I think, is going to be difficult.
It's a funny combination, because I think theoretically I like the Zarya more than I like the Ramatra, but I also like the Sojourn more than I like the Reaper. So it's really just a matter of which of these characters is going to find a little bit more value, and so far the Sojourn is proving to be an extremely potent pick, finding 2 eliminations right off the bat here, and I mean, that's a definitive fight win for the side of Primordius Rising to kick off Runesapi.
And that's the difficulty that you're going to run into with this comp, right? You have Galaxy 80% to Pulse Bomb already after one fight, so that Tracer is just putting work in on your back line. But you also got this Sojourn in the front line that's just peppering you with damage. It's a really tough spot to be stuck in, because even if you get Cap'n Crunch low, Cap'n Crunch could put his hands up and just be like, all right, I'm not dying now. So, again, very difficult comp to deal with here just because of the pure sustain and damage.
These hands multi-purpose. Cap'n Crunch can use them for both offense and defense. And Galaxy, man, he's been so potent on this Tracer. Giraffe Man out of the equation so early is not a good sign for the side of Vicious Unforgiven, but they are able to follow that up with a couple of eliminations onto Primordius Rising anyway. That's going to keep the entirety of Primordius away from that forward spawn. And I mean, finding that late pick onto Sorks and another onto Galaxy, really solid stuff.
Yeah, this is really huge for Vicious Unforgiven right here. You need to get this cart moving as much as possible. Honestly, ideally, Darkman goes and sticks somebody before they even get to fully regroup as a team right now. That would be your most ideal situation. You just go in and manage to stick this Pulse Bomb onto Sorks again before this fight even gets going.
It would be quite nice, but you do have to be careful of that Suzu coming out from Prosper. And, I mean, right now, a whole lot of damage is going to be outcoming from Sorks using that overclock here. Lucas very nearly falling victim there, but manages to escape into the side room for the moment. But Cap'n Crunch just walks in and finds the elimination anyway. A very, very good fight off the back of just one press of Q. Sorks doesn't even find an elimination with the overclock, but the pressure is enough to force Vicious Unforgiven into an awful spot.
Yeah, it just funnels all of them into a little kill box for Cap'n Crunch. Darkman doing a good job of just getting that point touch, but no one else can really follow it up, so checkpoint does come through for Primordius Rising. And again, a lot of ultimates online for both sides here, but nothing really going off just yet.
5 ults for Vicious Unforgiven, make it 4 with Darkman, not quite connecting on the Pulse Bomb there. I saw the vision, but Megatron does not quite get stuck. Darkman in the aftermath also going to be going down. Soggy Moist popping that Kitsune Rush in an attempt to stop this cart from moving here. And the Blossom and Grav both get used on opposite ends of the fight. both will find one pick, and eventually all 5 players from Primordius Rising will fall. But that was expensive. They had 5 ults going into it. They only have 1 now.
Yeah, plus side here is that they have Sound Barrier, which I would say is going to be their most important ultimate for trying to win this next fight. But again, you have Spec able to match it. So this could go very, very poorly for the side of Vicious Unforgiven. They're going to have to be almost perfect in this fight right here.
Sound Barrier goes out from Spec and Giraffe Man. Only player in the server to not get the effects of their Sound Barrier is Dark Man. May not even end up needing it though. Captain Crunch, on the other hand, does pop the Annihilation, hunts Lucas down, and while this fight is still happening, the cart is moving forward. The forward spawns have been triggered again, and, I mean, meterage is being gained, while players for Vicious Unforgiven are still fighting elsewhere on the map. Giraffe Man, I mean, currently dead, and now we're almost at 100 meters for Primordius.
Oh, that's like the worst thing that could happen there if you're Vicious Unforgiven. Like, at least if you lose the fight, you want it to be like at that midpoint, so it has to push up a little bit before they're able to get this cart moving. But now, here if you're Darkman, great kill, but then you immediately get traded out by Sorks.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful shots from the Tracer, but it is as you say, Sorks, kinda nice with it. Managing to connect a railgun here, and Galaxy is crazy! You weren't lying! This guy's really, really nice at this Tracer character, as it turns out here. And off the back, partially, of that play, they're going to be able to continue to move this cart forward here past the 115 mark.
Yeah, I mean, Galaxy just getting another one, playing that health pack expertly, as your Tracer players tend to do. Has the Pulse Bomb online, could potentially stick someone in the spawn with it. I would love to see that personally. So hopefully something happens here, or Vicious Unforgiven is going to get full capped on.
It's a distinct possibility here. Captain Crunch will be the first to fall in the fight, though, so at very least the full cap will not happen during this fight. More players from Primordius will fall like flies. And 4 minutes left on the clock. This is winnable for Vicious Unforgiven. It's just very difficult.
Oh no, incredibly difficult. And I mean, right now, all we've got online are the 2 pulse bombs from either side. Giraffe Man getting close to that sound barrier, and I think it's going to be needed to counter Prosper's the Kitsune Rush that's going to be upcoming shortly after this. You really need to have a good pulse bomb here if you're Dark Man to just help your team get over this hump.
Yeah, it would be very nice if it were a high-quality pulse bomb here. Galaxy, though, also has that extremely lethal tool in his kit, but won't be able to use it during this fight, as Lucas is able to hunt him down before that one gets any full effectiveness. Primordius Rising not able to, like, it's just, they just can't stop. They just can't stop Vicious Unforgiven from walking forward onto them, and this is where the Reaper is actually finding a lot of value here. Lucas has moved over to the Diva as of a little while ago, but, I mean, not having the Zarya hasn't really seemed to matter for this Reaper.
No, I think the Defense Matrix has actually been significantly more useful in that regard. To just, you deny unlimited damage with that. If you can get this kill onto Captain Crunch, you might start getting hurt, but losing your Reaper is not good.
Oh, definitely not helpful. And, I mean, you could have gotten the kill onto that Ramatra, but the Annihilation is there to keep him alive for just a little bit longer. Fortunately, you did get forward spawns in the midst of all of that. So, at very least, if you manage to get back to that 55-meter mark, you don't have to go through the butt scratch phase. You can trigger forward spawns again. So that is a big hurdle that you've just overcome if you're the side of Vicious Unforgiven. But again, you still have to win several fights in a row if you want hope at winning this map.
Yep, and you're already having to deal with Prosper's Kitsune Rush, and you don't really have a response for that, as you can see from the fact that you've just had to get out of the mech immediately.
Yeah, gets destroyed out of the mech. The Diva Bomb not able to connect onto anybody else here, and the Reaper very low on HP. Might be able to escape, maybe. Nope, does not. Sorks is there to get the kill onto Sinister Squid, and I mean, they're probably going to get even more meterage off of this one. 134 is where they start this one, and oh my god, Sorks! What a gross railgun to connect onto Darkman's Dome. And another one onto Sinister Squid. Make it 3! And even a 4th. I mean, this Sojourn can't be stopped right now, and this is looking like an almost inevitable full cap here on Runasapi. The sound barrier to potentially close this one out, but a couple of picks go out onto the DPS line for Primordius, so maybe not guaranteed at this point. Vicious Unforgiven, they have a little bit of fight in them yet.
They do indeed. A minute left on the clock here. It's going to take about 30 seconds for this bot to get all the way back to mid, and then you'll be able to actually have a fight here. Death Blossom going to be on right. Managing to get that kill onto Cap and Crunch, though, is crucial, and hopefully you can actually get it across here before Cap and Crunch gets forwards, but, you know, like I said before, it's so far away, Cap and Crunch still gets a forward spawn anyways.
Gets forward spawn, has Annihilation. I mean, you're playing against the odds here for sure, but Sinister Squid wants to take matters into his own hands. Finds an early pick onto Prosper with the usage of the Death Blossom, but it's a 2-for-2 trade. A great response coming out from Primordius Rising, and another couple of picks come through. Darkman not going to be able to stay alive in this one, and the Annihilation potentially to put the... I mean, the cherry on top. This map is done. There will be no recontest for the side of Vicious Unforgiven. Nobody's even close. And that's another map win for Primordius Rising.
Primordius getting back in top form here. Yeah, this is the team that we've seen all season so far, right here. Right, just complete dominance. You have a crazy hit scan player in Sorks. You've got Galaxy that's really good at that Tracer, not to mention other flex DPSs as well, but Tracer being like that constant, especially in open tier, it's so important that you have a top tier Tracer player. And, you know, that's... And then not to mention, you know, the back line, very flexible. Cap and Crunch, very flexible onto, you know, a lot of different tanks so far. Again, you're really seeing why Primordius is one of the top teams in this tier and why they made grand finals last season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, a team of this caliber, they're going to be super good at so many different compositions, so many different looks, so many different individual heroes. And I mean, if you had to point out like an individual player that is like their standout so far, I think you have a really hard time doing that, because every single player on Primordius Rising has had moments where they were the reason that they like won an individual fight. Every single player has had their moments where they were the linchpin, right? And Vicious Unforgiven, they also, I don't want to make it sound like I'm discrediting them, because they've also been playing some very good Overwatch so far, particularly on that Shambali. Lucas coming in on the tank, I think, has also kind of revitalized the team a little bit. I mean, they do obviously get the map win on Shambali here, but Runasapi, despite it being less close, was, I mean, still a very back and forth for a time map, for sure.
Yeah, it was back and forth. Like once that cap came through from Primordius, it really the thing that made that so one-sided ended up being that one fight we were talking about where they were at the middle. They were supposed to be fighting each other at the middle, and somebody from Primordius just took off with the bot in the middle of the fight. So you're just sitting over there gaining meterage while you're engaging in a losing fight if you're Vicious Unforgiven. So just really unfortunate timing, right? It was one of those moments where if everybody had just died on bot, maybe it wouldn't have been a full cap, because it did end up going like super far there.
Didn't quite get to the end, but it was in essence a full cap. Saravasa, though, will be our next battleground, and let me tell you, I am very happy that we're seeing Flashpoint here, because I mean, this is very quickly becoming possibly my new favorite mode in the game. Like, it's taken as long as Flashpoint has existed for it to grow on me to this level. I always liked Saravasa. I always liked New Junk City more than most people did, and I will still maintain that Atlas is a better map than most people give it credit for, but this mode is very recently growing on me very heavy. So I'm very happy to see Saravasa here.
Well, Vicious Unforgiven gonna have first ban here. They've already banned Tracer, so that's not an option. They banned Ash, that's not an option. I think this is the map you go with the Sojourn or the Cass.
Okay.
Whichever one you're more concerned about, right? Are you going to play the ball? Get rid of the Cass. Are you going to play anything else? Get rid of the Sojourn. That's your two choices here to me.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It would not shock me to see either of those two off the board here, but obviously you do have the entire cast to choose from outside of the 3 you've already banned, so I am curious to see what does get banned here. I'm sure we'll know in a moment. It is the Sojourn, you are correct in that one, so I do kind of wonder what the tank of what the tank lines are going to look like in this one with Cassidy on the board.
Primordius getting their ban in now. I feel like, well, let me take a look here. Me just taking a look at this, I think Diva is going to be the ban here from Primordius. We haven't seen
Okay.
Primordius play Diva, and we saw Lucas play a lot of that Diva. And I think the Diva was more effective than the Zarya, so I'm going to say the Diva ban is going to come through from Primordius.
I can see it. I would also not be shocked by a potential Lucio ban if they just want to make sure that the pace of the game is a little bit slower, or maybe force a Juno pick, because they seem to be comfortable on the Juno for sure. But only time will tell at this point. 5 seconds remaining until we know for sure. And it's Ball! Ball off the board. Okay. Definitely makes sense here.
It makes me
that one. I mean,
it makes me think that Lucas is swapping out. So I haven't seen it yet, but Lucas was not the Ball player, so I'm gonna assume that. Well, now Lucas is probably staying in. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe they're make sure Lucas is staying in. They don't want to see Ball. I don't know. That's gonna be my guess here.
okay, it's a possibility here. I honestly I'm not expecting any swaps, but maybe we get someone else coming in here. Maybe, potentially, possibly. I mean, it would be a little bit of a surprise to me. In fact, I don't think we are going to be getting any, according to what I've just heard. No, we are going straight into the map, and we got no graphic to suggest we are getting a substitution. So, into Suravasa we go. Into a new map we go. And into the same lineups we go. Do not trust either of the lineups you see right now, hero-wise, because they're still in spawn for the next 20 seconds. I sincerely doubt we are going to be seeing a Doomfist, but maybe one day. Maybe one day we'll get a Doomfist meta again.
There's always, anything is possible, as they say. And it is looking like Vicious Unforgiven is going to come out on... Okay, they're going to go with the Diva. Okay, I like this comp. You get rid of the Sojourn. You don't have to deal with that mobility of that Sojourn. It's a lot more of a contained comp that you're trying to deal with here. So, I like this. Well, let's see how it goes for them.
I dig it for sure. And keep in mind, everybody, that Vicious Unforgiven have no choice but to win this map if they want to play in the mid-season tournament next week and onward. So, I mean, this is their battleground of choice. This is where they absolutely have to come in clutch and win it, and that's a pretty good start to the map there. Taking Sorks out of the equation early, but you can't stop the cap from coming in. Primordius Rising managing to take it first and foremost. And I mean, despite the opening pick, they just can't get anything moving afterwards. Primordius Rising, 20% in building.
Not too many resources expended to get that first kill. So many cooldowns used just to get on top of Sorks. In the meantime, you just lose the support to Galaxy. So, a tough spot to be in where you need to go aggressive, but you also have a Tracer to deal with in your back line. This is a really tough composition to try and handle just because of how good Galaxy is, this Tracer.
Oh, yeah. This Galaxy guy, he might be kind of goated with it. Maybe just a little bit. 65% in building now for Primordius Rising as, I mean, they're forced off the point here. And I don't know that they have a consistent recontest, but Sorks manages to find another kill onto Darkman here. The contest from Galaxy was just long enough that they were able to stall out for a little bit, and there is not going to be a flip here for Vicious Unforgiven. I don't even know if they have overtime. They don't. First point goes the way of Primordius, 100-0.
I mean, just completely dominant fashion. They're playing the push and pull of their composition incredibly well so far. They know that they got to protect Mr. President, a.k.a. Sorks. As long as you keep Sorks upright throughout this fight, it's going to be just too heavy damage coming through from that front line. And then Galaxy as well, you have to deal with in the back line on that Tracer. I mean, it's a really, again, I just keep stressing on that. This is a very difficult composition to try and deal with because you have to try and kill somebody incredibly early.
It's a very difficult composition and a very difficult DPS line to play into in particular. Galaxy and Sorks have been on point all match long, but this map in particular has looked so good for them. Vicious Unforgiven, though, they do manage to find the first capture on this point, and it is a 1-for-1 trade. They lose out on Galaxy, but they do still have Sorks here pumping out damage, and Sinister Squid will be the victim of this Cassidy. They get 19%, which is more than they got on the last point, so you'll take it. It's a great starting point if you manage to flip, but that's the problem. You haven't managed to flip so far.
And that is the difficulty. And we saw the push and pull of the composition once again, right? Darkman copies the Ramatra. And in that moment, Cap'n Crunch realizes, hey, I can just free run into the back line with my Annihilation, and does exactly that.
Oh
and then
my God,
Galaxy
Galaxy
taking down Sinister Squid once again.
Right before the sound barrier, too. Literally just a split second before that would have connected and saved the life of the Cassidy. And that just snowballs into an immediate fight loss and a loss of a very important tool for Vicious Unforgiven.
Yeah, again, tough fight loss coming through for Vicious Unforgiven. But it's really just the setup, right? Galaxy is always set up just pressuring them before the fight even starts. They have to expend some sort of cooldown to the point that Darkman is now playing an unironic Torbjorn, so that's where we're at now in 2026.
And that's the second flashpoint. Captured. Once again, no overtime trigger. No nothing. Vicious Unforgiven. I mean, they're in desperation mode here, and I don't know how I feel about this Torbjorn. I've been a Torbjorn believer ever since the rework where he could throw his turret, and especially ever since he got that perk where he could throw the turret onto the walls, but I really don't know about it on Suravasa, or really this entire Flashpoint mode in general. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Flashpoint unlocks here. Deadeye out for Sinister Squid. Just trying to find anything here, but the DPS ultimates that find picks will be the ones from Primordius Rising. As Vicious Unforgiven, they get wiped off the face of the map.
And I mean, once again, Primordius Rising just with the superior ultimates, right? Luca is going to be swapping over to the Mauga. And I mean, so basically now that they're on this Mauga composition, their entire objective is to make Cap'n Crunch die as soon as possible. That's really all you do as Mauga. You just shoot the other tank all game and you win. Cap'n Crunch, though, taking down Darkman early is not looking good for Vicious Unforgiven.
Oh, it is not ideal in the slightest. I mean, we've seen Galaxy swapping over to the Soldier 76 of all heroes. I mean, Tracer, not a great matchup into Torbjorn, but, I mean, Darkman no longer even on that Torbjorn. Swaps over to the Tracer in order to try and get back to the point quickly. Cap'n Crunch also popping the Annihilation, though. That might just put that might just end the series entirely. It might be over. I don't even think there's a recontest here. A dominant Suravasa 3-0, where Vicious Unforgiven can only take 19 total percent, will close out this series in a 3-1 fashion.
Yeah, I told you, Primordius woke up after that second map, right? They seen Shambali happen, and they were like, how did we allow this to happen? We did a silly. We were being silly, guys. Let's stop being silly now. And they proceeded to stop being silly for the rest of the series, and it was this was more the team I expected to see in maps 3 and 4 as opposed to what I saw in maps 1 and 2. It looked like they really got serious after map 2.
Yeah, they played out of their minds on maps 3 and 4. Vicious Unforgiven, there were moments on map 3, I think, where they looked competitive, but those moments unfortunately came after the robot had already pushed the barricade a distance that was really too far for them to come back from, unfortunately. And that map 4 was, I mean, I can think of very few words to describe it other than brutal. It was not particularly close. like I said, Vicious Unforgiven only managing to take 19%. Not what you want to see at all in a final map scenario there. But I mean, congratulations to Primordius Rising for managing to take those last 2 maps away, sealing up the 3rd place seed for the mid-season tournament here. But speaking of that mid-season tournament, man, it hurts so bad to say it, but Vicious Unforgiven, they fall 1 map short.
Yeah, with Vicious Unforgiven losing in this fashion, that pretty much guarantees that Romance Dawn is going to slide into that 8th spot for the 8-team mid-season tournament.
Yeah. If you're a fan of Vicious Unforgiven, you are very sad on this day. But if you're a fan of Primordius Rising, I mean, this was business as usual outside of Shambhala Monastery. And after this next upcoming break, I assume we're going to have an interview where we'll have a member of Primordius Rising come on and chat a little bit about it. I have just received confirmation from the man himself, Headrammer, that we will, in fact, have an interview. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Inside here, you know, you get an insight and you know something, you know, but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and it'll spoil the whole thing for you, you know. But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
We're back, everybody, after a very short map number 4 and a very short break. We are here, everybody, with Captain Crunch, the tank player from the winning team tonight. How are you doing, Captain?
I'm doing great. It's been a good night. It's been a good night so far.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Now, Words are hard. I apologize. The first question I have for you is in regards to this mid-season tournament that you guys have just locked up the 3rd seed for with your 3-1 victory today. Congratulations on that, by the way. How are you guys feeling going into that one, being the 3rd seed when you guys were in grand finals in the previous season's main playoffs bracket?
Oh, we're feeling confident. I mean, the one map loss we had today was only because we were like experimenting on Domina and my someone went on Ron, but we're playing really confident. I'm confident we can beat any of the teams in there pretty convincingly. So
very nice. Someone went on Ron is maybe the funniest way you could have described that.
Oh my goodness. Well, I would follow up by asking, you know, just going into the tournament, is there any team in particular that you think is going to give you a really tough challenge, or do you really think like, hey, we can kind of just dog walk pretty much anybody?
No, I'm not really scared or concerned about any team. I mean, I have a couple friends on a team called Monolith, and I'm getting really excited to whoop them. But other than that, no, I'm not really concerned about any of the teams in there.
Okay.
All right. And then final question on Elios. What prompts the hazard pick out of like all the tanks? Like what is it that makes y'all like to play that hazard composition?
I really love the character. I'm one of the best at the character, at least on console, and it's fun. It's good against Paul. It's good on that map because there's a lot of places you can climb and ways to get around damage. So it's just a good pick, and I really love playing it.
Very nice. Comfortability will always be one of those things that, you know, just lends itself very well to like playing well in an organized environment. But with that in mind, I did have one last question for you. You did say that you were doing a little bit of experimentation on Shambali Monastery with the Domina pick and a little bit of silly shenanigans perhaps with the on-round pick. But obviously, this new season of Overwatch, we've got 5 new heroes in the game. But even like, and you can answer with any of those new 5 heroes or with any of the heroes in the game. But do you think there's any characters that are like super under the radar right now that you think are crazy good that people just aren't playing?
Emery is so ridiculously broken after they gave him a damage buff. It's insane. And once he gets his second little pistol perk, he's unreal. I'm not surprised more people are playing him. Like, he's so good. So good.
Interesting for sure. I mean, I'm definitely one of those people who I just don't like burst weapons in games in general, so I haven't really given Emery a shot, despite the fact that I am a DPS player, but maybe I need to, because everything I've heard about this character, he seems kind of crazy. I don't know. Last question, though, that I have for you is, would you like to give anybody a shout-out on your way out the door?
I want to shout out everyone on my team for showing up, Prosper, Suzuka for scheduling everything. Thank you, Galaxy, for throwing the Shambali by going on Ron, and that's it.
All right, awesome. We'll let you go, Captain. Have a good rest of your day. Congratulations once again on the win today, and we will see you in the mid-season tournament, man.
All right, thank you. You guys have a good day. See ya.
All right. That's that, everybody. It's over for the day. 3-1 win for Primordius Rising, obviously. Captain Crunch, a crucial component to that. Always great to have the insights from these excellent players here in the open tier. But that is going to do it for the two of us here. We are about to end the broadcast, but Shadow Fang, would you like to say anything to the people before we get on out of here?
Well, the mid-season tournament is going to be starting up next week, so you're definitely going to want to have those notifications turned on, so we're going to try and get as many of those games streamed out as possible. You definitely, shout out Shoes production crew. They're going to be included in the mid-season tournament, so you're definitely going to want to watch that game. I don't know who in the world's producing it, but someone's going to be producing that game, and you can watch Headrammer play tank. It's a good experience for everybody.
That's true. You can do that. I used to play for Shoes Production Crew before that whole group kind of split into two teams. I'm in the lower division team called Zybras, which is the funniest name and the funniest, not the funniest logo, that's Shoes Production Crew still, but one of the funniest logos we got in CGL in my opinion. So, hey, come make fun of me in Twitch chat while I play a mediocre Tracer. It's gonna be a good time, everybody. Actually, wait, I don't even think we qualified for mid-season. Never mind, we didn't qualify for mid-season. But maybe we'll be on broadcast at some point, so you can come make fun of me whenever that happens. But in order to do that, you gotta have notifications turned on. You gotta come watch the stream. So follow the stream. Maybe subscribe to the stream if you're feeling so inclined. Who knows? But anyways, as said, that's it for the two of us. Have a good night, everybody. And we'll be back in the future for the mid-season tournament.